I needed to mix some dyes for my next dye project, so I figured I'd make a video on how to mix dyes. What we need here are a couple little scoops. Dyes, I've got 3 colors I've got to mix. I've got an emerald green, an orange, and a yellow. I've got a digital scale, a funnel, some different size containers to mix in. There's a reason I've got different sizes here. We'll get into that in a second. And I've got a couple different bottles that I'm going to use. 2 different sizes here. I've got a 16 ounce and a 32 ounce. And that is why I've got different size containers to mix the dyes in. As far as my dyes, this is a Fiber Reactive Procyon MX. I get all of my dyes from either Standard Dyes in North Carolina or Colorado Dyes in Colorado. Occasionally I get dyes from Dharma out in California. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and mix the orange first. That's going to go in this smaller container here, the 16 ounce bottle. And for 16 ounce, I use about 25 grams of dye. Sometimes you'll see instructions on using teaspoons and tablespoons. I don't recommend that. I always weigh my dye out in grams, no matter how much dye I'm mixing. So again, we're going to go ahead and do the orange first. This is my orange dye powder. This is from Standard Dyes. And again, I said I wanted 20 to 25 grams. That's 25. Close that up, set it aside, get my water going. I want to use kind of a warm water to help dissolve the dye. That's especially important with yellow. Yellow is really hard to break down for some reason. And then also colors that you have to double your recipe on, like black. That's my orange. I'm going to go ahead and do my yellow. And I'm doing a yellow in a 32 ounce container, so for that I'm going to go 40 grams. Yellow is one of those colors you can go a little less than that. You can go 35, say, and still produce pretty much the same color yield. I'm going to tear that back to 0. Yeah, that's pretty good there. And you just fill it up about really what you think would be halfway on the bottle. If you're not sure, you think you might put too much in here, what you could do is fill this bottle up, say halfway, and then pour it into this powder. That way you know you've not gone over the top. Get that good and tight on there. I have some smaller containers to mix in, but the lids leak, so you don't want that to happen. So I don't even use them for mixing it off. I just use them for storing stuff. So just shake that up. Set that in there. We'll come back to that and shake it a few more times over a period of about 10 minutes to make sure all of that dye is dissolved before we transfer it into the bottle itself. Alright, so the yellow, I'm going to go 35 grams on it. Get water out. Lid on it. Could probably get a little bit more water in there than that. I know that this container will not fill that 32 ounce to the top, even if I fill it up all the way. Alright, last color we're going to do here is emerald green. Colorado Dye's emerald green to me seems a little light at 40 grams, so this one I actually increase. To 50 grams. And sometimes if I need it a little bit darker, I'll add a little black. Just, you know, maybe 1% black. Alright. That's got us at 50. Put some water in there. Back through and shake these again. And we'll let those set. And in the meantime, I just clean up my work area, and I just come back and, you know, shake them again over a period of about 10 minutes, and then we'll transfer them into the bottles. Okay, to finish out this process, the dye mixing process, we're going to go ahead and transfer the dyes into the bottles. I'll start with the orange, since that's the first one I mixed. One good last shake there. Open it up. I use this funnel to transfer it. I don't use this funnel for anything food related. It's for dye mixing and dye related things only. I just add water back into this so I can get as much dye as possible. Sometimes I'll pour it into the lid even. Get all that out. Pour that in. That's pretty close to the top there. And I'll just go ahead and top it off with cold water. Have you ever careful with the bottles that you use? I've used a lot of bottles that leak, and that is the worst possible thing. I found these at Dharma Trading, and they have a little insert inside the lid that you can actually just take out and wash and put back in there, and that prevents it from leaking completely. Good design there. Gonna rinse these items out. I rinse these out and I reuse them for mixing dyes. The lids have a little insert in them too. I get that out. You'll never get all that dye out of there from behind the lid with it in there. So it just pushes right back in there. You know, it's clean. You know it's clean. You're not going to get residual dye when you mix something else in there. Okay. We'll go ahead and do the yellow. Again, this is the one that took the longest to dissolve. I use kind of a clear container so I can tip it back and see if it has. It does look really good there. Give it one good final mix. Funnel in. Pour it in. When it gets close to the bottom, I try to look in there to see if I'm going to get residue, because I don't want to end up with a bunch of residue in the bottle. So if there's some in there, I go ahead and add water at that point and continue mixing what's there until it's all gone. Careful not to overfill. You want to allow enough space for the hose to get in there and not push that dye up over the top. And the green. They do sell a squeeze bottle that's a 32 ounce that's like this here, but it's a lot harder to handle something that big, especially when you're having to, you know, turn it over to put the dye on. This is why I absolutely love and highly recommend these bottles with the hose, because again, you're holding that bottle upright and this is your control, and how you squeeze the bottle is how fast or how slow the dye comes out. You can't beat that. Alright, so that's it. All the dyes are mixed. You can now move on to dyeing our next project. Thanks for watching.